Hello everyone, this is Jeremy Lovett with your weekly video message. This week I'm going to go over the new purchase contract, pre-qual, and LSU, all of which have been updated to comply with the new TRID implementation that's coming out October 3rd. So it's right around the corner, so check it out. Alright, so AAR has been working on the new contract for a while. They've actually had it done, but since they pushed back the TRID implementation to October 3rd, AAR has been holding off on releasing it into ZipForms until about September. So here's the big changes that are going on. On the purchase contract, the bulk of it is exactly the same as the old one. The major changes come in the financing section itself. Big changes are the loan contingency has been completely changed. Instead of simply saying that the loan documents need to be to closing 3 days prior to close of escrow, it now has a few different options that all comply with having the closing disclosure acknowledged by the buyer at least 3 days prior to close of escrow. It even leaves an option there for the buyer to provide notice of loan denial. So you're going to want to pay attention to that section, but it's not a huge change from before. It just embraces that new closing disclosure. One of the other big changes is that it allows for a more thorough definition of a loan application. It basically gives the buyer 3 days to submit a full loan application. This means it covers all the points that will actually trigger a loan application in the lender's system. The old contract basically didn't go into the details that were necessary to trigger that loan application. One of the other big pieces is it provides up to 10 days for the buyer to basically commit to a lender and start to provide them all of their documentation. This, I'm not entirely sure why they gave so much time, because we all know if you're given a 30-day close of escrow and you wait 10 days to commit to a lender, you're going to put yourself in a little bit of hot water, but that's in the contract. Along with this same 10-day time period is they've changed the LSU to being delivered after 5 days of opening close of escrow to now being delivered 10 days after close of escrow. So it gives a little bit more time for that buyer to commit to that lender, to provide some documentation, and then for that lender to put that LSU together. Those are the bulk of the changes for the purchase contract itself. Not a huge difference from before. Now the pre-qual doesn't really have any changes to it at all, except for they added a section at the very top that basically says, check this box if your buyer has not consulted with a lender. Of course, if you check this box, you probably have a very small chance of having an offer accepted by a seller. And if you are a seller and you receive a pre-qual that box is checked, really think hard as to whether or not that buyer is really in a position to be writing that offer. Now, on the LSU, they've changed a few different things. The biggest change is that it provides for a 10-day time frame before that initial LSU needs to be drafted. Again, this complies with the pieces that are on the purchase contract. But one of the best changes is page 2, where it goes over all the different documentations and the dates that they've been received by the lender. The terms used for that documentation has all been changed to be much more lender compliant. So now instead of asking or saying that we've received things that don't necessarily make sense to our loan application, it's very clear that AAR consulted with lenders in putting this together, because the documentation that they're asking for and that we're confirming as lenders there is much more thorough as far as how we actually put together a loan application. So in all, I believe that the changes are going to help us all moving forward. The purchase contract definitely looks like it complies to the new TRID pieces. The pre-qual, adding that extra box at the top, is probably just going to be a warning for anybody that hasn't consulted with a lender. And I do like that new LSU. I'm going to be much more comfortable filling it out. And as a listing agent, if you're paying attention to that LSU, it's going to give you a much better idea on how these borrowers are progressing throughout the loan process itself. So if you need absolutely anything, give me a call, 480-744-6040. And if you enjoy the content, make sure that you subscribe. And if you have absolutely anything to say, feel free to comment below. Appreciate it. Thank you.